Welcome to the Language Alchemy Podcast, where you transform how you communicate to create the life and relationships you truly want. I'm your host, Alejandra Siroka, and I help multicultural individuals, couples, and change makers move beyond surface level politeness and conflict avoidance to have authentic, value-based interactions that actually resolve issues and deepen connection. If you're tired of rehashing conversations in your head, walking on eggshells, or feeling misunderstood in your most important relationships, this podcast will give you a new way forward. And if you've been thinking about getting some support with your communication, visit languagealchemy.com to find out which transformative communication program would be most beneficial for you. As many of you know, especially if you've been following me for a while, each February, I focus on communicating love, particularly in romantic relationships. If you listened to the previous episode 189, then you heard from a wonderful couple, Lori Kubitschek and Kimberly Kerr, about their 21-plus-year marriage and what they learned about their communication in order to have a meaningful, thriving, and loving marriage for another 21-plus years. And at the end of that episode, we briefly talked about something I help all couples keep alive in their awareness as the years go by. And that is that I help them connect to the fact that the relationship with their intimate partner is not only different from a potential close relationship with a parent, a sibling, or a friend because they're married to their partner or because they live together, but because they chose each other. The understanding that out of the billions of people in the world, we chose this person to be our closest life companion, and that this person chose us is something that many couples forget about or do not keep it present in their day-to-day, and therefore is missing in their communication. If you are or you would like to be in a long-term intimate relationship that's meaningful, thriving, and sparkly, then this episode is for you. When you met each other, there was something, right? Some people may call it energy, others chemistry, others soul recognition. Even in the case of arranged marriages that have blossomed into intimate, loving relationships, there was something significant that occurred. Some kind of decision or intention to say yes to this person, to invite them to our lives, to see their essence, their qualities and uniqueness, and felt compelled to choose them. Not somebody else, them. So from the very beginning, that relationship was different from other relationships you have with other human beings. And I'm not talking about just any intimate relationship, but an intimate relationship where there is or where there has been love. There was a choice to love this human being, and there was a choice to be open to be loved by this human being. This was an incredibly important choice. And as years go by and we go through so many life experiences together with our partners, we may not keep this important fact in our awareness. And so the relationship starts to become more like a relationship with a family member or a roommate. I hear about this all the time in my work coaching couples when they reveal that, yes, they have forgotten that they chose each other. And when that happens, I hear them say that they don't talk nearly as much as they used to, or they don't communicate through touch in a warm and tender way. And some even tell me that they no longer cherish each other, something they said they did during their first years of their relationship. And when I ask about this, I often hear couples tell me that in the beginning, it was easy, that it was natural, that they didn't have to make any effort to communicate that choice. And if you're thinking the same, keep listening. Through the language alchemy coaching journey, the couples I support realize that at the beginning of the relationship, they actually did a lot to communicate that choice clearly. When we're choosing someone as our partner or potential partner, we devote so much time and consideration to so many of our behaviors and communication. Let me give you an example of what I mean. Think about when you first started dating your partner. Maybe you were getting ready to see them and you changed your outfit 3 or 4 times. Not because you were trying to impress them in a superficial way, but because you wanted them to see you, the real you, in your authentic style. You were also communicating through your care and attention, you matter to me. So I am going to show up fully for you. I choose to be present with you. That's the message you were trying to convey. Or maybe you remember the early days when they texted you and your heart would skip a beat. You would read their message carefully, perhaps more than once, think about your response, maybe even rewrite it a few times, right? And why did you do that? Because their words mattered to you and your words to them mattered. You were consciously choosing to engage, to connect, to let them into your world. You probably also thought about where to go, what to talk about, what questions to ask, what you wanted them to know about you, which stories you wanted to share with them. And when you went to a party or a gathering, you probably introduced them with a smile. You talked about them positively when you were sharing about this person with friends or family. You may have even surprised them with a special treat, a gift, or a beautiful act of generosity. During the beginning, when you were new to each other, when you were getting to know each other, you did so much to communicate, I choose you. Fast forward 5, 10, 20 years. Now, when they text you, maybe you don't even read the whole message and you just respond with an okay or a thumbs up or sounds good. And you're doing this while you're scrolling through your phone, half paying attention. And maybe when you're getting ready to see them after work, you might not even think about it. You just show up as you are, which isn't necessarily bad or negative in and of itself. What I'm trying to point out here is that something has shifted. What I see in so many of the couples I coach is that the relationship and your partner have become familiar. And somewhere along the way, that beautiful and courageous choice became an assumed reality. So when the couples I work with look at how they are showing up with their intimate partners, they often see that they stopped communicating, I choose you. Some of my clients have said, Alejandra, I don't need to say those words because my spouse already knows that. We're married. We live together. Of course I choose them. But what I've learned from working with them and also in my 20 plus years of marriage is that this courageous, loving, and conscious choice needs to be communicated regularly. Because with renewed communication, we invite ourselves to keep that choice alive. And we also encourage ourselves to show up with them with openness, curiosity, warmth, love, and compassion again and again and again. And not just when things are easy, but also when things are challenging, not optimal, and even painful. So how do you communicate I choose you to your partner if you want to keep a loving relationship alive, thriving, meaningful, and sparkly? The first thing you need is to use this language out loud often and to avoid using it in the past tense as in, I chose you. But actually to say to your partner in the present tense, I choose you. This might seem like a small distinction, but it's profound. I chose you speaks to a decision made in the past. It's history. It's done. But I choose you? Oh, that's alive. It's happening now. It's a renewal. It says today, right now, with everything I know about you and everything we've been through together, I am consciously choosing you again. This is not about living in the honeymoon phase forever or pretending that life is always romantic and easy. I know it isn't. This is about bringing consciousness to the relationship, refusing to let your partnership become background noise in your life, and reminding yourself and your intimate other that your relationship is your favorite playlist. So say those words out loud to your partner and then notice how you feel. Now, if you've been following me for some time, you know that communication isn't only words. Every behavior is communication. So let me give you 3 practical ways you can communicate I choose you on a daily basis. First, prioritize presence over productivity. When your partner is talking to you, put your phone down, close your laptop, turn your body towards them, look at them. And this is harder than it sounds in our distracted world. I remember many years ago, I was facilitating a retreat at 1440, the beautiful retreat center in Northern California. And I gave people some homework. I asked them to go home and turn to their partners and face them as much as possible when they were interacting. The next day, one of the participants came and said, "You know what? I realized I had not been really connecting to my husband in decades. We just talked while we were brushing our teeth, doing the dishes, and tag teaming with the kids. But last night when I came home and I made it a point to turn my body towards him and actually look at him, I felt so warm and open inside. He was telling me about something very mundane, and I felt like I was falling in love all over again." Yes, because when you are giving someone your full attention, you are saying, in this moment, nothing is more important than you. I choose to be here with you. I choose you. Now, this doesn't mean you have to do this every single time they speak. We're all human, and sometimes we're genuinely in the middle of something urgent. But make it a practice. Several times a day, choose presence. Maybe it's during dinner, or in the morning before work, or when you first reunite at the end of the day. Second, notice and appreciate who they are today, not just who they were when you met. One of the ways in which relationships become stale is when we hold on to an image of our partners from years ago and we stop seeing who they actually are now. I remember a client came to me and asked me, "Can you give me my wife back?" And when I asked him to clarify what he meant, he said, "I want her to be exactly who she was when we met, before we got married, before we had kids, before she launched her business." Of course, I could not do that. Nobody can do that. Not even your partner. Your partner has grown. They've matured. And yes, they have changed. They have new interests, new responsibilities, and new dreams. And when you actively notice these things and express appreciation for them, you know what you're communicating? I see you. I'm interested in who you are becoming. And I choose you as you are right now. This might sound like, "I love how passionate you've become about volunteering." Or, "I've noticed you've been reading more poetry lately. I would love to hear your favorite poem of the week." Or, "The way you handled that difficult situation with your boss showed such wisdom. I admire that about you." You're not just appreciating them for what they do for you or for the household. You are seeing them as a whole person who is evolving, and you are choosing to accompany them as they grow in life. And third, create small rituals of reconnection. This is something Lori and Kimberly mentioned in our interview, and I see it with many thriving couples. They have small, consistent rituals that say, we are in this together. It could be as simple as a morning coffee together before the day begins, or a 10-minute walk after dinner, or a Sunday morning routine where you read a book together, or sending each other a midday text with something that made you think about the other person. These rituals don't have to be elaborate or time-consuming. What matters is that they're consistent and intentional. They create pockets in your day or your week where you're saying, no matter how busy life gets, no matter what challenges we're facing, I am making space for us. I choose this connection. I choose you. The beautiful thing about these rituals is that they create a rhythm in your relationship, and they become touchstones that remind both of you that you're not just roommates or co-parents or business partners managing a household. You are two people who continue to choose each other. I want to acknowledge something important. Choosing your partner doesn't mean accepting harmful behavior or staying in a relationship that's truly not working. That's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is couples who genuinely love each other, but they have let the aliveness of their choice fade into the background. The couples who are loving people in a completely viable relationship, but who have forgotten to tend to that spark. The couples who need to remember why they came together in the first place and consciously choose to keep that alive. Sometimes the most powerful time to communicate, I choose you, is during conflict or difficult seasons. When your partner has disappointed you, or when you're going through a tough time together, or when life feels heavy, that's when the conscious choice becomes most meaningful. And it might sound like this. We are going through a hard time right now, and I want you to know that I'm still here. I choose us. I choose to work through this with you. That's what Lori and Kimberly chose. And that kind of communication can transform a moment or a season of disconnection into a deepening of your relationship. Now, going back to the interview with Lori and Kimberly, after we finished recording, they sent me a song that Kimberly wrote that both of them recorded. When I listened to that song, I was so moved because it captures exactly the daily remembrance of choosing each other. It is such a beautiful song that I asked for their permission to share it with you. So here it is for you to enjoy.
Early in the morning and I'm watching you sleep. Something beautiful about the way you breathe, and you got me heart and mind. Sometimes I find it hard to believe that you choose me. This life I love for keeps. Where I am is where you want to be, 'cause you choose making my way through the day when I swear I hear you call my name. I start looking around to get found by the smile that always amazes, telling me what I most want to know, that in this life I'm not alone. choose. Now you're calling me on the phone, asking me when I'm coming home, coming back to you, 'cause the night is falling and you want me back where I belong.
Stars ring out to me, sing of how we're meant to be, reminding me to remember.
Stars, they sing to me, sing of how we're meant to be, reminding me to remember. It's late in the evening now and we're turning out the lights. Surrounded by darkness, I'm holding you by my side. Then I realize that even in the shadows, all I feel and hide, I can choose love. I can choose love. I choose love, just like you choose me. It's life our love for keeps. Where I am, where I wanna be, because you choose this life I love for keeps. This life I love for keeps. This life I love for keeps. You choose me, I love. You choose me, oh, you choose me. This life I love for keeps.
Isn't that a beautiful song? Could you feel the love in their voices, their words? And now let's recap what you've heard in this episode. First, we explored how the conscious choice to be with our partner can fade into the background as years go by, and why it's essential to keep that choice alive and present in our awareness. Second, we talked about the power of the present tense language, I choose you, and how this simple shift brings awareness and renewal to the relationship. Third, I gave you 3 practical ways to communicate I choose you daily. And those are, number 1, prioritize presence over productivity. Number 2, notice and appreciate who your partner is today. And 3, create small rituals of reconnection. And finally, we heard the beautiful voices of Lori and Kimberly through their loving song about the daily practice of choosing each other. Here's what I would love for you to take away from this episode. Your intimate relationship is not a done deal. It's not something that happened in the past and now just exists on autopilot. It's a living, breathing connection that needs to be renewed, tended to, and consciously chosen. Every day, you have an opportunity to communicate to your partner, out of all the people in the world, I choose you. Today, right now, again, I choose you. Thank you so much for listening. Until next episode, and as we say in Argentina, ciao ciao. Original music by Gary LaPoe. You can find all links in the show notes at languagealchemy.com.